I'd like everyone here to take a moment to imagine the most terrified that you've ever been. Were your palms sweating? Was your heart rate skyrocketing? Now imagine if you had that reaction every time you came in contact with, say, a button. Now, this kind of response is part of an anxiety disorder, and it's called a phobia. To properly understand a phobia, you have to understand what they are, what might cause them, and how we can treat them. Now, my interest in phobias started when I took a high school class in psychology, and I'm going to be using my textbook for that class, my roommate's college psychology textbook, and several reference websites to talk about. So, let's start. What is a phobia? A phobia, as defined by the 2008 college textbook, Psychology Themes and Variations by Wayne Whiten, is this. It's marked by a consistent and irrational fear of an object or situation that presents no real danger. So in English, that means it's an irrational fear. There are two different kinds of phobias, specific and social. Specific phobias are really simple. Basically, you're scared of an object. An example of this would be arachnophobia. You're scared of spiders. And a personal example is pool drains. I'm absolutely terrified of pool drains. I'll be referring back to that as an example when I'm talking about treatments. Now, social phobias are a little bit harder to understand. They're caused by social situations, so you can't really pinpoint what's causing them. A kind of social phobia would be agoraphobia, which is literally translated as fear of the marketplace, or fear of large crowded spaces. So you can understand why you might get confused if you were freaking out at the marketplace. Now, you know what a phobia is, but why do people have them? Well, the answer is not actually definite. I did some research. I went on a website called anxietytreatment.com, written by Martin M. Anthony. He has two different ideas, biological and learning. The biological aspect is that you fear things that you should fear because of the way, because you're human, like fire, drowning, and then once you fear them, you start to avoid them, and through that avoidance, you can build a worse fear of it, and some people escalate that into a phobia. Some people don't, obviously. Now, his other idea is learning, and that would be if you were, say, in a car crash, and then you were terrified of being the passenger in a car, so you would have developed a phobia of a car by being in a car crash. So those are his two theories, and phobias can be very serious, as you can tell. I mean, it would be terrible if you were scared of a car or a thunderstorm or a pool drain. So I will address now how they are treated. The following treatments are from my 2007 psychology textbook, Psychology in Action by Karen Huffman. I have a little, some drawings for you because I really like art. So the first type of psychology that you can use, it's a treatment called insight therapy. Basically, this is the kind of therapy that you think of when you think of a therapist. You know, the therapist's on the couch, or the patient's on the couch, the therapist's in the chair, and he says, how does that make you feel? And basically, the therapist is trying to figure out what could possibly cause this fear. So maybe you talk about your childhood, you talk about things that you might not even be aware of subconsciously, and they talk you through your fear. Now, the second kind of therapy is called cognitive therapy, and this is more about the patient. The patient tries to positive self-talk themselves out of their fear. So, for say, we're going to talk about my pool drain. The least scary thing I can think of about pool drains maybe is to see a drawing of them. So I would say, okay, a drawing's not that scary, and I would talk myself out of it. I would say, okay, I'm not scared of pool drains. I'm not scared of the drawing of pool drains. And then I'd take a step up each time thinking of something more scary, and at the top, maybe my scariest thing would be touching one. And so once I talk myself out of touching it, maybe I would even go touch it, and I would just keep talking myself out of it, and so it's all about the patient. The final kind of therapy is behavioral therapy, and this one's sort of complicated, but I'm going to break it down. Basically, it's about rewards and punishments. So here's your person in the middle, and they are scared, and you have somebody rewarding on this side and somebody punishing on this side. Basically, I'm going to use my pool again. If I go to the pool, and let's say I love donuts. So I go to the pool, and I'm very calm about the drain. I don't freak out, so I get a donut after I go swimming. Hey! But if I go to the pool and I freak out, then I don't get a donut. So eventually, if it's something good enough, if the reward is most fantastic, then I will probably start to grow out of my phobia. It may not work. All three of these things are used, sometimes in conjunction with each other, and most phobias are treated relatively well so the person can function in real society. So, now you know what a phobia is and what may cause them, and how they can be treated. I hope that if you ever meet someone with a phobia, or develop one yourself, you'll know what your therapist is talking about. I hope you've learned a lot, and you're able to get over your glossorophobia or fear of public speaking. But no one has that, right?